pencil maker. And this old man was on his deathbed. He's been carving out pencils all his life. And at his deathbed, he had one final wish, to carve out one last pencil. So he set out to do just that. He carved out pencil. And when he finally, after hours later, he had the pencil in his hand, he said this to the pencil. Before I send you out into the world, my dearest pencil, I want you to know these 5 rules. If you remember these, you're going to the best you can be. 1. Let someone hold you. Let them guide you. And you'll be able to do great many things. 2. There will be painful sharpenings. But remember that it will be important for you to be a sharp pencil. 3. You might always be able to correct the mistakes you made. Keep that in your conscience always. 4. The most important one, always remember, my dear pencil, the most important part of you is what's inside. And 5. Remember that wherever you touch upon, always leave your mark, no matter what the conditions, no matter what the day. If you remember these 5 things, you will be the best pencil you can be. And after hearing to the master, the pencil bade goodbye, and this pencil was shipped to a household in Britain. So there on the desk of its new master, this pencil adored, along with other shiny fountain pens that the master had bought from the city. And it so happened that the pencil always felt ashamed because the pens were all shiny and blingy and very beautiful, and it knew in its heart that it can never be as beautiful as these pens. And it so happened that the fountain pens ridiculed. They laughed at it, saying that, look at it, this silly pencil, our master chews it, and she can never be as beautiful as us. And so, though it was innate in her heart that she was destined to be something, she felt ashamed. And years went by, the master used this pencil, sharpened it a lot of times. So what was once a beautiful wooden frame was reduced to a small stub now. This pencil was just a small stub. And then one fine day, war came to Britain. And the owner of this pencil was summoned by the government to join as a pilot in the military. And so he went off. Days passed into months, and months passed into years. These pencils waited, the fountain pen waited to be used by the owner. They wanted to be held, they wanted to be written, they wanted to be used, but he did not return. And one fine day he did return. And when did he finally return? He returned with a bad message. He told his wife, look, I'm going tomorrow again. I've been summoned by the ministry to go on a mission, critical mission, and I'm supposed to fly on the enemy skies. And I'm going to leave tomorrow. And so when he packed his bag the next morning and was about to leave, he came to the desk finally and started looking for something to write. And when he tried each of the pens that was there, none of them wrote because they were clogged from years of disuse. And then his wife comes over to him and hands over the small pencil and says, I want you to have this. I want you to have this because you can rely on this pencil. And when you're flying up above in the skies, it's a matter of death for you, life and death for you. And I want you to have a pencil that will not clog and that will not leak in the high pressures. It's as trustable as you trust me. And so he left with the pencil. And then this man charted all the squadron maps, all the enemy bases, the locations onto the maps using this pencil. He wrote down the plan, the strategy, how they're going to strike, and the maps were passed between the teams, the other squadrons, the other pilots. And together they flew into the enemy zone, amongst bombardments, amongst firings, amongst rain, snow. This pencil never gave upon. It always did its job. And with every day that went by, the small stub was getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then a few months later, the enemy kneeled. The enemy lost this great force. And this pilot was an integral man who was very, very crucial to winning this war. And when he returned home, he hugged his wife. And when he placed his bag, he finally, with a very deep emotional gesture, he keeps this pencil amongst the fountain pens. And when that day happened, the fountain pens knew deep in their hearts that this is not the same pencil that arrived with us. This was a special pencil because it achieved what its maker destined it to be. And so, fellow Toastmasters, I'd like to end this speech with a beautiful quote by the great American poet Ralph Waldo Emerson. You do not become the person you are destined to be. You become the person you choose to be. Over to you, Toastmaster.